Hey, what's up, everybody? We're in the middle of watching RLCS 2026 EU Open 1 Finals in Copenhagen, and during the broadcast, they ended up announcing the 2026 decals. We've got all of them except for one. Furia, for whatever reason, has decided not to submit it, but there's about 17 that are coming out, and also a little bit of a teaser and a little bit of a spoiler. Obviously, you guys know Manchester City has picked up 2 Danes, 1 Bruv, but TSM does have a decal for this year, which means they're in the partner program, which leads me to believe that while they're in the decals, they have yet to pick up their team. My assumption is they're going to be picking up the APAC team, Project Delacruz, the #1 seed over in APAC, with Sphinx and the boys. TSM is pretty notorious for picking up a cheaper roster on a budget and then hoping for a big upswing. So that would go hand in hand with that. It's not going to be redacted if I had to guess. So we can expect to see APAC #1 seed likely being TSM. That being said, let's take a look at all the decals, and then we're going to rate them in a tier list on ones we like from most to least. So we got Dignitas. This is Falcons. Obviously, there's a little bit of a glare and stuff, but it's got the green a little bit more with yellow outline and then white. This is Foot. Cheese Sosa. This is Gen G. This is GK. You can see it a little bit in the back. This is K Corp. This is Kansas City Pioneers. If you see the hood of the car, it's just got their logo, a little bit more white on top. This is Gentlemates. Ninjas in Pajamas. This is NRG. NRG looks like they're rebranding and going back to their old logo, by the way. Power. A little bit of a blue teal gradient with some lightning bolts. This is Shopify Rebellion. One may argue it could be Space Station. Speaking of Space Station, this is Space Station. 60s hippie vibe. Interesting choices. Twisted Minds. I will tell you they have like a bunch of like sketches of their little like brain dude on the sides. This is TSM's. This is Vitality, some carbon fiber vibes. Both Vitality and Energy have like 2 stars for their world championships noted on their decals as well. This is Wildcard from the trailer. That is what we got. I do not know what Furias look like. I have made this tier list. It is public. You guys can go look it up. If you go to tiermaker.com and you search RLCS 2026 decal tier list, you will find it. That being said, we're going to go with these in the order as shows. First things first, Dignitas, I think we're going to put an A tier. I think overall, they've continued this color scheme of like the teal and the pink. I do think it's a little bit too busy for my liking. I do prefer a minimalist type decal unless it like goes above and beyond. I would probably say S or A tier. I think they're both pretty good. But I do think it's a little bit too much of like the lines and this and that. I think they could do a little bit less, ironically. But that's just personal preference. Next, we've got Falcons, which I'm putting in D tier. It is almost if they put all their efforts and money and efforts into draw leap acquisition and not into the decal. There was a lot of really good decal makers out in the space, 3D render artists. I would recommend picking one up. Beefy Ramen Boy is probably the one I recognize the most. He's made the moist decal and stuff in the past. G2, Space Station, a lot of really good decals. But it just feels pretty meh. It looks pretty meh. That being said, that could be a request from the players, and I do understand that. Sometimes very basic, very simple decals, not a whole lot extra, means the car feels good to play with. So it could be a competitive reason. So that could be that. Foot, I would say, is a little bit above average. I'm a sucker for red, black, and white. I do think that there's a little bit of a texture in that. Overall, the color schemes and stuff look pretty dope. Looks pretty clean. I'd probably put C or B tier. Color scheme, though, I'm a little biased. Next, Gen G. I think Gen G is a little too plain. I think Gen G in particular doesn't really have the standout or the flash compared to normal. That may look different in game, and that's something that makes this a little bit difficult, is I'm just going off of still images, not off of like actual in-game looks. But yeah, I think I do think that the Gen G decal gets lost and muddled. While it looks like they're trying to have different colors and different looks to it, it just feels all kind of muted, which is unfortunate. I think this is the GK one, and I actually like it. I like the separation between the two colors, where it has the and I'll show you this separation. So it's like the different color of blue and the different shade of blue with the separation. There's a little bit of texture in there. I think overall, like, it's clean, it's simple, but it has the banner coming across that creates that separation, which I like. Next, I think my first S tier is got to be KC. I think this is KC's. I think there's just aesthetically is super clean. I think it looks great. I think the like color aesthetic with the flowers and stuff, with the like the inverse here, I think it's minimal, but it still has enough like texture and pattern and stuff to it to where I think it works really, really well. The fact that they do it all over the hood too. A lot of decals will just make sure there's nothing around this logo on the hood or the bonnet, depending on where you're from. And I think you can do it subtly underneath to still add that texture all over and make it look nice. I think they did a really good job. I think Casey's is pretty damn solid. Next, if you're looking for uniqueness, and I know people like the all over color stuff, not even trying to be biased on KCPs, I think they do something that some may like, some may not. But the thing I enjoy is usually with graffiti and stuff, you usually just do bold outline on all the lettering. The fact that they don't, I think, is a good design choice. I think overall, color-wise, I think this one will actually just sell really well. Overall, I think a lot of people, this reminds me of the old G2 Adidas one, which was one of the best-selling decals of all time. I think the style and the aesthetic, their announcement video they did, like the streets of KC with drone shots and stuff, which was pretty cool. But realistically, and I'm not even trying to be biased on this, I think it's just a cool looking decal. I think the all over rainbow color stuff does very, very well for sales and aesthetics. It's the same reason why I think Dignitas transitioned into theirs rather than just the same old black or the same black and yellow that everybody else does. So good stuff there. Up next, mates. I'm gonna put mates in A tier, maybe high B tier. We'll do high B tier for now. We'll maybe switch that. I think it's a little too blue, and maybe that's just the pictures showing it. But realistically, I think for mates, I'm surprised they leaned more into blue than pink, which I'm pretty surprised. Also, mates is known as the green suits. The fact that there's like no green on it is also kind of odd. So I think the little flashes of color do look nice. I like the flower stuff and everything. I'm hoping that this one shows more defined in game, because right now it just seems like it's washed a lot on blue, which is probably why I have it in B and not A. But depending on what it looks like in game, I might bump it up a little bit. But that's where I'm at for now. Next is NIP. I think NIP is C, like high C. Like it's average. Like it's purple gradient with some lines. It's okay. It's okay. Nothing special. Up next is NRG. I'll go with B, low B, I think. I like the pattern. I like the color aesthetic. Like, but again, it's simple. It's very simple. I think the fact that they aren't doing like they're doing more of like the color itself is a little bit more unique. Like the sienna, it's not like quite a burnt sienna orange, but aesthetically, it appeals to me. Maybe they could do a little bit more, but it just doesn't feel like Energy is kind of one of those all over types. So we'll probably in a low B. Power. I think Power is S tier actually. I think Powers is sick. I think the like moving lines and the speed makes you feel fast. I think this one will get used a lot. I think the lightning is clean enough. To me, this is a good way of doing minimal. I do think they could have maybe carried this a little bit further. I do think that I agree the teal is a little bit too light instead of popping a little bit more, but when you have a super dark aesthetic to a super light aesthetic, it just kind of muddles in the middle. So they have to brighten this up a little bit, maybe, in my opinion. But overall, I do think it's good. I either have this high A or low S. It's somewhere in between. For now, we're gonna put it high A. Shopify's is probably one of my favorites. I would probably argue one of these two. Shopify's looks dope. I think that's a dang good decal. Ironically, I think this could be space stations with the whole galaxy and stuff, but I think this is going to do really well. The paint finish on this, I know they're not doing anodized to my knowledge, but the paint finish is really going to make this look or not. But this looks sick. It's all over decal. I think it works really well. You off-center like the galaxy thing, and then you let it spread. Cool decal. It's like someone just took paint and just went like that on it. I think it looks sick. Super clean. Next, space station. You know, it's not my cup of tea, but I do think it's on brand. And a lot of people are like, how's that on brand? Space Station doesn't... I mean, dude, Space Station's done camo before. If you know Sean Durst and those guys, this is very on brand for them, where it's like hippie, very carefree, love not war type. I think it very much so appeals to the like nostalgic 60s kind of vibe that they give off with like the skateboarding collabs and the tech stuff they do. I personally probably would never wear this decal, but I do think it's still solid and it's unique. I'm going to put it middle B tier. I think it's right in the middle. I don't think it's amazing. I don't think it's bad. I think it's right where it's supposed to be. Next, Twisted Minds. I actually like Twisted Minds a lot. I'm probably going to put them actually above Power. I think Twisted Minds has got a pretty clean decal. This doesn't really do it justice. The side profile and stuff has a lot more color coming in, and there's actually texture with the like hand-drawn little brain dudes. I actually think it looks pretty sick. I like Twisted Minds quite a bit. So we'll move that up. TSM I think is S tier. I think TSM's dope. It's got a good pattern, good texture, kind of digital uniqueness. Couple splashes of color. Design wise, I think it looks pretty dang good. I think TSM's will sell pretty well. TSM's always had a pretty solid decal. So that's what I got for TSM. I'm gonna put them in S tier. I think theirs is pretty dope. Up next, Vitality. Vitality doesn't really innovate or do anything different. I like the carbon fiber aesthetic, very car themed in that regard. The lining isn't super generic to the most part. The fact that it doesn't continue on, I think, is kind of cool. The fact that it stops a little bit, I don't mind it. It doesn't resonate too much with me. I'm going to put it somewhere in A. Somewhere in here. And then wild cards, I think, is mid. I think it's whatever. I don't think there's anything unique about it. Like, maybe I'm crazy of thinking about that, but this doesn't do anything for me. You got the logo and you've got some checkered stuff on the sides, and then it's your colors. It's whatever. I don't know if you guys disagree with that. That's my tier list. Maybe we need to weight some of these a little bit differently. But overall, that's what I got. That's what I've got. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think. Apparently, I'm supposed to check this out. What does Val's got for me in the chat? Okay, this is Foot's decal. Yeah, like the all over looks pretty solid. I think the Dominus actually looks the best, honestly. I think the Dominus is the best looking one out of all of those. Fennec's not too bad either. Yeah, I think it's a good looking decal. I have a B. Maybe I move some of these, but again, until I see it in game, it's a little bit tough. Again, I only have so many images to go. Stop trying to change my opinion, you cheaters. That being said, that's what I got for decals. If you guys have any idea on what you think is the best, let me know your S tier. Let me know your like top 3. That's what I want to know in the comments down below. Again, I'll have a link to this in the description. Otherwise, tiermaker.com, RLCS 2026 decals tier list. You search for that, it should pop up and allow you guys to do it. It is made public. Either way, that's going to do it for today's video. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.